Hello, and thank you for joining me. I am Krista Snow, coming to you from El Paso, Texas, right here on the border. 2 years ago, I decided to create a podcast of mini-series focused on outliers and the unique journeys we walk, because truly, we need each other. I've built a collective to dive into a variety of topics from healing and relationships to business advice and neurodivergence. My commitment to you is to bring you integrity and high quality, because I believe in people and their potential. So without further ado, welcome to this space where you can join the collective as we listen, learn the flip side, and ultimately level up our lives together. I'll be your host, and you're listening to the Level Up Podcast. Hello, everyone. This is episode 1 of the Level Up Podcast. This has been a long time coming. My name is Krista Snow, and I am so excited to be here. I am kicking off the first mini-series of Level Up with a series on healing. And it will be featuring my friends Leah and Melissa. Melissa has done a mini-series on narcissism with me, which you'll see later. And Leah is here today. Say hi, Leah.
Hello.
And we are going to talk about imposter syndrome, which we both feel is super important and critical to understanding the rest of the healing journey and what needs to be done after that. So we will start with low high, which is basically as this business mindset that I have functions on. It is a balance sheet, a snapshot of where we are currently right now, today, in the moment, because I think that's the best way to start conversations when you know what is going on in that person's life at that moment. And that affects a lot of things in the way that they relate and maybe are coming across different than usual. So low high, I'll start. My low for today is, well, we planned to start this episode 4 hours ago, and then my internet decided to go out and Riverside decided not to like me. And my high is the fact that we're actually doing it now. 4 hours later, snowstorms coming, internet might cut us off halfway through, but that's my high. And they're on opposite extremes, but that's where I'm at right now. How about you?
So low would definitely have to be a received news today that a very dear friend and actually one of my bridesmaids passed on Sunday, this past Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I still have not processed it. I only found out a few weeks ago about the health issues that she was facing. And so very unexpected. The high, though, is that I did make it out to California this past year. And, you know, out of all the people, I was born and raised there. So out of all the people that I wanted to be sure I saw in a very short period of time, she stood out in my mind. And now I know. I know why I got that last interaction with her. So I
love that, because on opposite extremes of those feelings, you know, the grief over the loss, you also have the gratefulness that you did see her.
I did. I did. And I'm so grateful because I know that God put her name, you know, in my head to contact and to make sure that meeting happened. And I will be forever grateful. And you just never know. Hug your loved ones, people, because you just don't know.
Yes.
None of us are promised tomorrow. So, yeah.
It's just a glimpse and it passes too fast.
Too fast, for sure.
But everyone that's older says the memories is what made life worth it. And I wish I had invested more time to create more memories instead of more money or more play or more instant gratification, you know? I think the memory of the time that you have together is going to help in the grief that you go through, you know, suffering this loss. And I'm sorry, friend.
Thank you.
Awful.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's, and you can tell by my face right now, it hasn't, it's like, that's a dream. I'm going to wake up for it tomorrow. And it's just going to be another one of those melatonin induced dreams that I had. This isn't real. It can't possibly be real. So, you know, we've lost far too many people. I feel like I'm 44 years old. We're too young to have lost this many people from our graduation year. It just doesn't seem humanly possible, really and truly. So yeah.
And it's
Makes you
hard.
take stock.
It's hard. You have to compartmentalize it, because when you even start to think that maybe it actually did happen, that becomes too much to bear. And in light of that, I am so thankful that you are here right now, because I don't know if I would have done it. I probably would have canceled. And so thank you. Thank you for being here despite major pain. And honestly, that is what life is about. It's doing life together, and you can be happy and sad at the same time.
Right.
Celebrating someone and grieving with someone else, because it's just a journey, and we're not comparing. We're just walking alongside each other.
Right. And this is important. This was very important to me, that we got this off the ground. And, if she had even known what we were starting, she would have just, oh my gosh, she would have been over the moon about it. And she was a world traveler and lived life to her absolute fullest. She was always on a new adventure or something else. So this would have been a really cool experience to have shared with her. So
that helps you know that she wants you to be on this right now. She would be mad if you were putting it off, being sad over her.
For sure.
And that helps, even if just a little bit, it helps to tell yourself, because it's painful.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I will be praying for you, and I'm really sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, please be praying for her family for sure. It's too young of an age for anybody to lose anyone. I mean, it's always, we've never been given enough time, but really too young, just too young to process something like that. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask her name?
Her name is Dominique.
Yeah, I'll definitely be praying for her and for you, friend.
Thank you.
So, more topics about healing. Let's start with imposter syndrome. Do you want to explain kind of what you found out about it, and we'll go from there?
Sure. So and folks, I do apologize. I came down with some type of bronchial something today. I like to think I sound sultry. It probably sounds like I've smoked most of my life, and I've never even touched a cigarette to my lips. So there's that. Next time you hear
I'm wheezing in the background over here, so it's sultry means wheezy. We are great. We are
that time of year. We're just doing life together. There's going to be coughs. There's going to be sneezes. It's life, people. This is raw. This is real. This is transparent.
Yes, it is.
You get the good with the bad.
Yeah, so, this is how we do.
Yep, this is life. So I wanted to, I knew my understanding of imposter syndrome, and I know everybody, most people have heard this, but do we really know what that means?
I had to look it up when we decided to do one on imposter syndrome. I was like, wait, hold on. I've done research for 4 years, but what's the actual definition?
So the actual psychological definition, and this came out of the Googles and the interwebs, is that it is a psychological phenomenon characterized by persistent feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and a fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite evidence of one's competence and achievements, which is, a lot of wonderful, lofty words that really, it just means, for me, it is that fear and those thoughts in the very back of your head. Anytime I get ready to do something new, anytime I get ready to do something I haven't done before that I really don't feel super qualified to do. And it's the fear that other people are eventually going to find me out. They're going to realize that I am not qualified and that, it was dumb luck that I landed here. It was a luck of the draw. It was just completely a one-off. If they really knew just how inadequate I really was, they would call me on it. And it's all based in my perception and in my, my lack of self-confidence or my lack of esteem in areas of accomplishment or accolade. So yeah, and I think that all of us at some point or another have felt that to a certain degree. So this is a very, personal and yet shared experience by so very many people.
Yeah, I think the biggest markers that I would say about, define imposter syndrome is making yourself small.
Yes.
Feeling that you're always either being too much or too little, that you don't just fit in right, like a puzzle piece, like it seems like other people do.
Right.
And this mortification and self-shame whenever you get negative feedback from anybody, right, because you associate that directly with your worth. And so the, imposter syndrome, it leads to overworking because you have no self-care, and accomplishments don't lead to the feelings of confidence like they do for people that don't struggle with this, because we feel like we maybe got lucky, or we didn't deserve it, or people are going to expose us as a fraud for whatever reason, because we don't feel like we deserve to get where we are. And it wasn't by our doing. And so accomplishments don't lead to more confidence. They lead to more self-deprecation.
Right.
It's hard because flipping that narrative is really difficult. But there was this quote that I heard that I absolutely love. And it is, when you work for yourself as hard as you do for others, you're going to be unstoppable.
Ooh. Ouch. Wow. Yeah. Well, and think of the words that you just used to describe that feeling: expose, shame. I mean, wow. Think of how completely, utterly stripped and vulnerable, at least for me, those words make you feel. They make you feel like you have no recourse. You're just kind of out there alone, solitary, and void of anything to defend yourself with. It's a very base place to be. And
that's where the spiral starts.
Right.
Because when you grow up and become an adult and you have these feelings that you don't really understand or maybe don't talk about because your family, your parents don't talk about things, or maybe you grew up in a high achieving family. And so if you're in a high achieving family, you just feel like you're supposed to do those things all the time. Right. Your parents don't understand the work that you had to do to receive the A's that are easy for them. They don't understand, and they can denigrate the effort that you've put in. And so it just leads to this ultimate crux point of, you feel different, you feel like you don't fit in, but you have some people that you fit in with, you kind of fit it, and then it just steamrolls in all these different areas, whether it be career or family or friends or whatever. And you get to the point where you decide you don't belong. Right. You don't have a place in this world. And that point either goes up or down, because if you don't stop it right there, then you become the villain in your own story.
Right. There's no place at the table for the villain, is there? There's not. And especially when you're a child when you have got, if you're an only child and you have high performing parents, you have parents that they're good at anything they want to do from moment one, or you have high performing siblings and it just comes so easily to them. And you're the one who secretly and silently struggles because you don't want to let everybody know how hard you're working just to maintain status quo, because you feel as though they will rip away your place at the table and you'll have to climb twice as hard and twice as fast to make it back to earning the space that you take up.
Mm-hmm.
And that follows you, like we've talked about many times before, everything that happens, birth to 18, those formative years of, when you're learning from your environment, your environment and what you hear and what you feel is shaping your sense of self. And if your sense of self doesn't have a place and is kind of unshapely and unformed, constantly looking for that place to plug in. And every time you come up to the next opportunity, well, that one didn't fit. I didn't fit there. Well, maybe the next time. And each new time kind of becomes I'm not going to fit. Why try? And like you said, it can either go up or down. And if nobody is paying attention and nobody recognizes that, you're not going to reach out because you've been doing it this whole time.
Yeah, and a lot of it is subconscious. We don't realize what we're telling ourselves and the infrastructures and belief systems we're building by telling ourselves stories, whether or not we know they're true. Right. And I think comparison is a huge one, like you mentioned with siblings. And I'll give you examples. Growing up, my sister is super creative and artistic and crafty. And I am so not that. I'm so bad at it. I have my things that I am good at, but it's just different. I'm not crafty in that way. And I wanted to
look at you creating this podcast and this
there we
team
go.
of people.
Yes,
so
business all the way. But yeah,
that's visionary, girl. Visionary.
Jewelry on Etsy and laser metal, artisan stamping. Okay, I wish I were that creative, this visionary of creating things because you can see it. I know what I like when I see it, but I can't create that. So being jealous and insecure and trying to be crafty and then being oh my gosh, I'm really bad at this. It's this feeling of embarrassment. And she's not looking at me like that.
No.
But did I know that at the time? Did I ever say anything about what Krista felt? No. I wish I were like you. No. And I just let it sit there that I'm not as good as her and I wish I was. My brother, he is one of those just musically inclined people. He plays every instrument in a band, and he's only been given piano lessons. We had piano lessons together all growing up, but he plays guitar, bass, drums, piano. He's one of those very talented people without even formal training. I was a music major in college, but he's the music talent.
Don't you love how that goes?
It'll take me a year for him to sit down at the piano and boom, 3 days later, it's a masterpiece. And so I think I compared myself in that way too. And instead of realizing and leveraging my own strengths, whatever they are, and piano, I'm not in comparison to him.
Right.
Why did I compare myself? Piano wasn't even his favorite instrument. That was mine. But he was better than me at piano. And he could do all the other instruments too, which I couldn't do. I tried to play guitar. And then I was like, oh, no. My fingers hurt, first of all. And then you wash dishes once and the calluses go away. I'm not. No, ma'am, Pam. This is not the life for me. So I think I lived in these jealousy spirals without ever even really expressing it. Neither of my siblings were ever thinking anything that I was thinking about myself, that you're not good, you're not as good as me, or whatever. They're just doing their thing.
Right. They're just living.
They're just living. And I was looking at what they were doing instead of finding out where I thrive,
right,
and where I shine. And those feelings, starting from a very young age of comparison against, I mean, I'm tall. I live in El Paso. All my friends are like short, cute, petite. And I'm just like a giraffe. And so like telling myself, all my friends are like, have these amazing tans. And I'm just like, I burned by sitting in a hot car. I felt like an outsider.
Yeah.
And I told myself I was, instead of talking about it.
Right.
And
I guarantee nobody would have told you that.
Yes.
Nobody would have told Krista that. They would have been like, she is so tall and so beautiful and just has this confidence and this beaming glow around her when she walks into a room, and she has a contagious laugh. But no, that's not, when you don't talk, these are the things that you don't hear.
Right.
Yeah.
And what did you tell me? We don't realize how people see us.
No, we don't. We've created the narrative already in our head. We've already created our story, and we are featured as the villain. We are the one that lacks. We are the one that could have done better. We are the one that should have strived harder. We are, the list goes on and on and on and on. And yet, I've had that wonderful experience of reaching this, ripe middle age and getting to talk to people that I grew up with and voice that I felt like I was a loner. I felt like, even though, I was a cheerleader and this and that, I never fit in. We didn't come from money, and all the cheerleaders had money. And I was tall and I was muscular, and all these little cheerleaders, were short and cute. And, and I didn't quite, and I was too tan, I was too dark. And it was like, we never see the wonderful things until we hear it from other people. And I did get the chance to hear from other people privately. What are you talking about? You were popular. You were beautiful. Girls wanted to be you. Guys wanted to date you. And I'm like, where were these people? Because I never felt that. I felt alone. I felt ugly. I felt unneeded. I felt like I had nothing to bring to the pot. I had no seat at the table. And then you hear from people, what? That kind of disqualify that experience. And yet, here we are all these years later, still feeling it. But then you get to this age and you're like, you know what? I am done. I am done living by the rules of my own mind. Because let's face it, if we talked to other people the way that we talk to ourselves, we would not be friends with us. And yet we allow it. So I think,
we would be slapping ourselves on the wrist for talking to anyone the way that we talk to ourselves. So why is that okay?
Why is that acceptable? And here we were just doing this the other day, and I'm like, Krista, no. You had said something about your arms, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I had long, slender arms like yours, I probably would not have tattooed most of them. Let's be honest.
And I never would have expected you to say that. I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. Your arms are amazing. I love your ink. But hearing that from you was like, oh yeah, why am I talking bad on myself? First of all, and second of all, I'm fabulous.
You are fabulous. Look at what you have created. Look at this thing that you have allowed. First of all, you've asked God to move in this way, and look at all of the different facets and characters that he's brought to you to make this dream and this vision and this word of his come alive and help. You're helping. This is the start of a helping journey to, hopefully get people in a place before they reach that self-deprecation, and they can hold on to it and say, you know what? I'm actually kind of cool. I have a lot of really great qualities. I'm going to harness those.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember talking to my best friend once, and I don't remember how the conversation started, but the whole thing was me confessing to her how I was jealous growing up. And she got married and had kids and had the life that literally, like, that's all I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was an easy one, right? Like, I don't care about being famous, having a career or whatever. Like, I'm going to college is a backup plan. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll work or whatever, but like,
Right.
I want to stay home and homeschool my kids and give them a great education the way that my mom did with us. And none of that happened. And I had this subconscious bitterness and jealousy that I don't even think that I realized that I had until I healed. And healing from the feelings of judgment and bitterness and comparison and envy, once that happens, you never deal with it again. And so I openly confessed, I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize I felt this way. And now I see how that impacted some of the ways that I reacted to you. Like, in our friends groups, like leaving you out, like, things that I didn't say to her at the time. And I remember her telling me, are you serious? And then she went off on this long rant of explaining what she would have said if I had said anything about these situations. And I was like, oh, dang, I should have said this 20 years ago. Because you know what? She wasn't against me. No. I was comparing myself to her, feeling like I didn't measure up. She wasn't lording herself over me. She wasn't anything.
No, she was sharing her life with you.
That's it. Yeah. And it was my choice to take things from a place of hurt and unhealed, emotions and not getting what I always wanted, and then letting that spiral into jealousy. And so it's so important that you deal with the things that led to feeling the imposter syndrome, because it becomes me versus them.
Right.
And everybody else outside you feels like they're against you when you feel like an imposter. And when you don't, that's when you create us. Like the Level Up Squad of 14 people. I mean, Danny from Nigeria. And, you across the country right now dealing with snow.
Yes, lots of it.
There are all of these people that have totally different perspectives, backgrounds, stories, beliefs, and everyone is welcome to the table.
Yeah.
Because they're willing to do the work to level up, to be kind, to learn what they were missing, just like I am. And we're doing that together now. So we create us. There are no imposters. Yes, exactly.
It's just us.
That's where the flip has to be, because it is no longer walking on the defensive and waiting for someone to strike. It is walking and living on the offensive with everyone beside you in authenticity, where you can say, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And you're not embarrassed to say you can't do it anymore, because they're really good at it and they would totally love to help you do it. But you never thought about that when you were just being jealous and trying to do it yourself and failing, and then not ever saying anything. And now we've created this collective of friends and a network of this support, because we all have totally different talents, capabilities. And I now realize it's not me against the world.
No.
It took a long time, though. What about you and your, the things that led to the feeling the way that you have felt?
So, that, like you mentioned, the us versus them, that's an automatic, like, world war type situation. Because if you think about any of like, think geopolitically, right? Any time that we are in a situation where we want to protect us against them, they are always the evil ones. They are always the ones that encapsulate all of the things that we don't want to be like, that we don't want to have to harbor, and us, we possess all the qualities that we want to maintain. And yet, growing up, we created an us versus them environment, yet it was so incredibly reversed and toxic. The them is who we couldn't be if somebody paid us to. And the us was the thing that we were running so quickly and so hard against becoming. And I did find when I was younger, I came from places of being previously very, very misinformed. And I have been the villain in a lot of people's stories, not just my own. I really and truly have earned that villain title in many people's stories, because I was in a place where I had not healed.
Right.
I was in a place where I was in my own turmoil, a lot of my own making. I could not see the forest through the trees.
And you hurt people.
I hurt people,
deeply.
People.
We hurt people deeply.
We lash out and we cut. And, we cut deep because, insecure people know how to prey on other people's insecurities. And it's that whole misery loves company thing. And I finally realized one day my husband had said to me, I said, honey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't even know where that came from. I know that must have been embarrassing for you. And he said to me, baby girl, it broke my heart to see you be capable of saying something like that to a complete stranger in the hopes of wounding them. And from that moment, not a second later, that instance, that began my healing journey. Right then and there, I said, no, I will no longer look at the things that I despise. I will no longer pay attention to those characteristics and say, oh, I will never do that. And I will never go there. And I started setting my sights on who I wanted to be, on the things that I treasured. And I started thinking even beyond, the what would Jesus do bracelets. What is the most loving thing? What is the most loving thing? And it's different. It looks different in every situation for the person that you're dealing with when you're meeting them where they are. Warts, smells, scabs, and all.
The ugliness.
That's
just part of it.
Yeah. And if you get to be the helper that comes alongside somebody else, and you get to be the person that you needed when you didn't even know that you needed it, God, what a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful watching somebody's chains literally fall off of them when they didn't even know they had been shackled and imprisoned.
Yes.
And they emerge new, and they emerge clean, and they emerge with clear eyes, and they are so ready for wonderful things beyond their wildest dreams, just because of healing. And that's what I want to be here for. I want to be a part of helping others to heal, because it's been my greatest gift that I helped give to myself, just by recognizing that I don't have to be the villain anymore. It's not a safe place to be. I thought it was a big, strong tower that kept me safe from getting hurt, when in fact, I was the only one committing all of the atrocities. I don't want to be that person anymore. Ever again.
Yeah, I had the same experience with my healing journey when you come to the point where you do not recognize yourself anymore, You already knew you didn't love yourself, but you don't like yourself.
Right.
When you get to that point where you don't recognize the person you know you once were, and you were proud of that, because you tried to push those things down as not important, because other people said they weren't, you will feel like an imposter. But the only way to stop feeling like an imposter is to learn you're not one. And people, we can tell the world they are not imposters, but unless they believe us, then they won't be able to learn how, because you have to know that it's possible enough to not brush it off, to try it. And you have to try it in practical ways. Can you write down a list of 10 things that you love about yourself right now? Is that a practical thing that you can do? That's something that someone can ask themselves. And if you can't do 10, can you do 5? The goal is 10.
Yeah.
Because I can write down 100 things that I love about myself. And it is not arrogant. It is understanding the things that about me that I used to hate because I thought that I didn't belong, and that those things were weird because I'm quirky and I don't fit in, and I burst into song, and people give me weird looks, and I didn't fit in. But the things about me that I tried to hold back, I tried to hold things back and hold myself down like a ball underwater. At some point, you're going to hit where it explodes and it comes shooting up. And then what? Will you learn who you are if you know you're not an imposter? We're telling you, my friends, you are not an imposter if you feel like one. So do you believe that? Because you can. I promise you, you can. And it's hard work, but it's worth it, because you have to know what lights you up, what lights a fire under you. Even to just be able to find your perfect career, it is the intersect between 4 things: what you love to do, what you're actually good at, what the world needs, and how you can get paid for it. And finding who you are will completely eliminate the feelings of imposter syndrome, but it gets better, because after that, when you no longer live life with a wall up, holding people out for fear at your future through the goggles of the past, when you no longer do that, then you get the friends in the trenches, because you can be real and authentic, and they don't run, and neither do you. And it takes a long time to get to that point. I've been on this journey for 4 years, and I'll be healing for the rest of my life. But I will keep doing every hard moment, because it just keeps getting better. Imposter syndrome will destroy you, but it doesn't have to if you don't let it, because you are not an imposter. And you have a place in the world, and you have friends and people that want to actually do life with you at that level. But until you get off the playing field you're on, you will never know the beauty of that kind of life. I had no idea what real authenticity in friendships looks like, because I put on a face and I hid emotions because I was embarrassed, and I wanted to present the image of helping everybody, but not letting people help me.
Right.
And when you start giving people the same gift that you get when you help them, when you give them that in return, they get to bless you. But I didn't want help. I wanted to help other people. because I needed the affirmations and the approval and things that come from that. I didn't want to feel weak. Now I don't feel weak. I'm human. I have tons of weak moments, but I am not weak. And my friends that show up in the trenches, my friend that texted me and asked exactly what I wanted when I was sick, and I was able to say, gummy bears, orange juice, Dayquil, like the things that I'll never say, 2 decades ago, or even a decade ago, or 5 years ago. And I would just, no, you don't have to help me, as I'm freaking miserable, can't move on my couch. I've learned to accept the help, and I've also experienced the beauty that is this back and forth.
Because you want to the joy that you get when you get to bless somebody, when you get to help somebody. I learned a long time ago, and I'm still working on it. But when we don't allow others to help, and when we have everything together and we're the person that has everything, when you get the person that has everything, we rob that person of having the feeling of blessing somebody else. And you realize it boils down to pride. Mm-hmm. So would you say that just if we were to capitalize on one thing, and it's not a fake it till you make it, it's genuine and it's real, do you think that if we started embodying those qualities, if we started accepting ourselves, if we started talking to ourselves the way that we talk to and build up the people that we love around us, that eventually that spark and that light will shine on others? Yes. And it will attract them, and they will say, I gotta ask, are you really that confident? Because you just seem like nothing phases you. Like you own everything that you say and do, and there is no regrets. You have no regrets. Do you think that can start in us, modeled to the world around us?
It just takes one match to light a spark.
Right.
Imagine the power. We've already seen it in our own lives.
Right.
More and more people doing that, realizing that they are valuable and worthy and loved and deserve a place on this planet. They need to be here. When more people realize that is where the solution to imposter syndrome comes. The true solution is true community.
And it's being a part of others. It doesn't stem, I know I always had a tendency to isolate. I always had a tendency to go inward and fold inward and literally shrink, physically make myself smaller and occupy less space, leave less of a footprint. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. Community is how we begin to heal. It's if we can't get out of our own head, fine, stay in your own head, but then get out of your house. Go help somebody else. Because when you're focusing on somebody else and you're focusing on being part of a help and a heal, all of those thoughts really kind of come to light, and you start to realize the lies. You realize them for the lies that they were, that they are, that they have been all along. And those scales, your villainous scales, start to fall off. And maybe you get to be maybe not the hero of your own story, because God's the hero in mine, and I don't want to take that place. But you know what? Maybe I get to be the main character and the protagonist of my own story. And I'm not going to be the villain anymore.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I do too. I'm going to start living that.
Oh, yeah. Right. All this time, we're just preaching to ourselves here because it's hard. It's still hard. And imposter syndrome, I think for me, comes from not wanting to be a burden to others and feeling like a burden. And so true community has shown me I'm not a burden. Just like I don't feel like anybody's a burden to me.
No.
They make me believe it when I don't believe it, because I'm down on myself and I'm depressed or I'm having anxiety attacks. They show up. My family, my friends, my tribe, they show up and they tell me in a way that I believe it, that I am not a burden, and I'm loved, and I'm worth it. And I want everybody listening, if they don't feel like that, I want them to know that they can.
Yeah. You got to go meet those friends in the trenches. They don't just come out of thin air. They don't just show up. They require a give and a take of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, those trench friends combat imposter syndrome every single time.
Yeah, I think the Friends in the Trenches episode is definitely going to be helpful. And I'm excited for what's to come.
I am too. Thank
you for that's all we have
this.
for today. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Level Up Podcast, and the squad wants you to know that we're here to help. Feel free to email us at leveluppodcastsquad@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, we would love to hear from you. God bless, and we'll see you next time here on Level Up.